Now we're going to deal with Ian Kyle Paisley, or Dr. Paisley. Alright, the DUP founder of the DUP and the Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster. Now this footage comes from Ian Paisley allowed child buggery to continue in Kincora Children's Home. Okay. Of which he did. Amongst a lot of things that he did. We know Ian Paisley, hopefully we know Ian Paisley, alright, as the man of two faces. The man who stood up against the British government and Sinn Féin IRA for years on end, with no surrender, down with Maggie, and so on and so forth. And the Protestants gathered round to be his disciples. And for years this went on and on and on. And then towards the end of his existence upon this earth, he then declared his colours. He declared his colours. You know, amongst the things he used to shout that Popery is the Antichrist. The Antichrist on its mass was a blasphemous fable and a dangerous deceit. Well, you know, correct. But the thing about it is, he not only attacked the British government, he attacked Sinn Féin IRA, he attacked the Antichrist, alright. But towards the end, once he had procured the highest office in Stormont and got Stormont back together to sit, okay, he then threw off the mask. It was all declared then that it was one huge con over the years. That he had been working with the British government, that he'd been working with Sinn Féin IRA, and that he was one with the very Antichrist that he proclaimed against. The biggest personal con of our times was Ian Paisley. We need to put that on the wall. We need to remind ourselves, because when we come to the likes of Farage and others, we should be reminded that there are players in this world for their own personal ends, whom the government protects, and they protected Ian Paisley Senior, Ian Kyle Paisley, who, by the way, is a fascinating case, very fascinating, because he was an idiot. He really was. As a child, he was an idiot. As a youth, in his youth, he was a complete idiot. A complete idiot. And as for Christianity, forget it. Forget it. You know, don't you dare say he was a Christian. Oh my goodness. Was Judas a Christian? Eh? Was he? Was he buggery? Eh? In the Welsh Bible school that Ian Paisley went into, he failed. He walked out. He couldn't take it. He couldn't understand the scriptures, the theology, the Bible. He walked out. Couldn't comprehend it. And the teacher said he was an idiot. So it's really baffling, you know, how he began the Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster. He said he was called to preach when he was in the top field, working in the top field there. He heard a voice to tell him he should go preaching, and he went to go preaching. This is in his youth, and he went to go preaching, and in the first tin hall, because he had tin halls in those days, he went to preach and he failed. He absolutely failed. He got about an hour to speak, and he did it in about 5 minutes. But it was a novelty, to the people. Have a youth here. Not a true minister, but a youth. Just a bit of novelty. And yet, it's like overnight he formed this church, and then he went into politics. DUP formed. And you begin to, there's pieces missing in the history of this man as to how he came to do these things, because he was not an intelligent person at all. He really wasn't. I tell you, it just staggers me still that this fella could get to do what he did. There must have been a greater power behind him, because he couldn't have done this. He couldn't have created the Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster and created the DUP, Democratic Unionist Party. Unionist Party, okay? And by the way, he had no time for the Free Presbyterian Church. If one of the Free Presbyterian churches was financially struggling somewhere along the way, it had many branches to the central branch in Ulster, had many branches across the world. If a church was struggling, he'd say, bugger off. He'd rather see one of his churches turned into a gym, a warehouse, auction house, or even a dwelling. And then to get onto his yacht and sail away. Not a very nice man. Con artist. But he is the example. He is the example to warn us not to believe the Farages and the Paisleys of this world.
Kincora Boys' Home took in youngsters and teenagers from the courts or who were thought to be in moral danger. There have been allegations of homosexual offences here for over 20 years. But it was only last December that Mr. William McGrath, a prominent Orangeman and a house father at Kincora, was jailed for 4 years for sexual offences against boys in his care.
4 years.
4 other men were also jailed. A former missionary of Dr. Paisley's church accused the DUP leader of not taking action against McGrath 8 years before he was brought to trial.
I approached Dr. Paisley on at least 7 occasions. I asked him time and time again what he intended to do about this. My concern all along was very much for the fact that there were young boys under the threat of this man's corruption.
Dr. Paisley has been calling for an immediate public judicial inquiry. He admits Miss Shaw did tell him of McGrath's homosexuality, but not that he worked at Kincora.
That's what she said. Yes, she did say she made accusations against Mr. McGrath, and she based these on the evidence of a Mr. X. When I met Mr. X, he wouldn't meet Mr. McGrath. And I, of course, did the only thing I could do. I put Mr. McGrath from taking part in an orange service in my church.
This is Ian Paisley MP. He's dead now. He banned him. He didn't call the police in. Didn't call for an inquiry. Oh, just banned him. Hey, oh no, good. I just banned him. So what? You've actually just proved that you believe and you know that he's done what he's accused of. Otherwise, you don't ban him. And did he protest against you banning him? No. So doubly, you are sure, Paisley, that this man was guilty. And you did nothing. What type of a human being can keep quiet and play this corrupted political game? Only those that have lost their humanity. Okay. The only thing I could do, well, the police are down the Pigging Road. And as again, you knew he did it. He testifies he's done it to you because he's not protested his innocence.
Part in an orange service in my church. He wasn't a member of my church, but I certainly took that discipline immediately. And I regret that Miss Shaw didn't go to the police.
But Miss Shaw says she did, and the police too have been accused of a cover-up.
Hold on. You are the moderator, alright, and the founder of the Free Presbyterian Church, and a missionary comes to you telling you what has gone on, and you don't go with her to the police. You blame her and say she didn't go to the police. But it's now been found out she did go to the police, but you should have gone with her. You are supposed to be a Christian. Supposed to be a Christian. That's like Sweeney Todd, professional barber. Hey? Hey, do you like a close shave, sir? Because you're going to picking at one now. Full handle. Chair tips back. Down into the cellar. Nice meat pies afterwards, innit? Hey, Sweeney Pigging Todd. Aye. Of Fleet Street. Demon Barbers, Fleet Street. I'll tell you something. In light of that, the Demon Barbers, Fleet Street, Sweeney Todd, slit their throats. Well, no, in actual fact, apparently he slit the throat afterwards in some stories. The chair was enough to tip the person out and knock them out when they hit the ground in the cellar. Anyhow, Sweeney Todd was Sweeney Todd, wasn't he? He did what he did because that's what he was. Ian Paisley did what he did because that's what he was. Can we get this through today? People do what they do because they are what they are. Governments will do, or at least the British government, will do what it does because of what it is. Local governments do what they do because they are what they are. And it doesn't matter what local government you go to. There may be one, in fact there isn't any. I was just going to say then there might be one, but there isn't. It's what they are. You know, we're too soft in believing the goodness of something, but no, it's what they are. We have to settle this. He should have gone with her if he were a human being, not just a biological being, but a human being, what it is to be a human being, humanity, and great hatred against sin, the sin of all this. And he's a supposed minister. He pretended to be a minister and a Christian. Oh, what a world.
Police too have been accused of a cover-up.
Well, of course they do.
There have been several police inquiries into alleged homosexual prostitution rings which catered for prominent Ulstermen, but most of the investigations were apparently dropped. Now the RUC's tough Chief Constable, Sir John Herman, is making sure there's been no cover-up. He's called in an outsider to investigate the allegations against some of his men and to take charge of any fresh inquiries.
Cobblers. That's just newspeak. Oh, bring in somebody from outside. Make it appear to be that we're upright. We're not going to favour anybody. It's all independent. Hey? And those they bring in, they try to persuade to fall in line with the corruption that they're supposed to be investigating. And quite often through time, we see the people brought in, some of the people say, oh, bugger off. Get lost. Get stuffed. We're not following this pig in line. We're here for an independent inquiry, and that's it. And you'll lump it or like it or not. If you don't, we'll pig in walk, and they'll walk.
The Northern Ireland Secretary, Mr. Pryor, set up a committee of inquiry to sit in private. But last week, 3 of the 5 committee members resigned because they felt they couldn't do the job the public wanted, to find out exactly what had gone on in Kincora.
There you go.
It was clear Mr. Pryor had seriously underestimated public concern.
I tried to twist it, and people left. There you go. This is what happens. I've seen it. I've frigging done it myself. I equally know. I've done it myself. I've walked out. I said, nah. You know. Nah, I'm not going to bow down to that. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. I've walked out. Sod them. Now we'll go into part 2 about Ian Paisley even further. Okay? Because some of us don't profess one thing and do another. Do we?